Be still. Be quiet for no reason. We've been moving around so much and making so much noise. For a moment, stop moving. Stop going, stop doing. Everything is so complicated. For a moment, just be simple. Just be quiet. It's enough. The universe is enough. Every moment, the whole universe is exactly enough. We've been told that we need to get something. When we get that thing, then we'll be happy. Whether that thing is some money, or some position, or some possession, some person. But inevitably, whatever we get brings with the fear of losing. And generally, whatever we desire so much, whether it's the person or the jewelry or the house or the job, ends up empty. And so, not through doing, not through going, not through trying, but through being. When you tune in at that level of being, immediately you feel peaceful, you feel happy. Because being means you have arrived here and now. You are present here and now. But doing is always over there. It never arrives. No matter how much you do, it's never enough. Never good enough. And so there's always so much left to do, and so you never arrive. You're always living in the, just over there. But life is here, here and now. So we must learn how to be radically present. Means 100%. Like a child. Fully involved in this moment. Our whole presence, our whole life, our whole mind, our whole heart is here and now. Like in the sports game. When you're playing the game, you're fully present. You can't be in the last game or the next game. You can't be thinking about the problems at home. You're in the flow, in the game. In the same way, the yogi is in the game every moment. How could you be anywhere else? You're going to get hit in the head with a ball. You're going to score on yourself. So, when you're in the game, it means not thinking. You've already done the training. You know how to move. You know how to turn. You know how to listen. How to breathe. So you just flow, in the dance. Without thinking. A little bit of thinking, okay. That's useful. But too much thinking is like drowning oneself. Strangling oneself. You have to see clearly the words will never take you where you're trying to go. Nobody, it hasn't taken anyone. And it's essentially impossible that it will happen to you. So, Where is peace? Where is happiness? Where is love? In this present moment, when you rest in awareness, then you experience that. It's a kind of tuning. Like you tune yourself, you can see beauty all around you. Or you tune yourself, you see all the problems. Every second you can see so many problems. This is a problem, that could be a problem, that's definitely a problem. Right? It's a tuning. You have the problem mind, or you have the tune with the beauty. Tune with the, you see the love, you see the dance of love and nature around you, or you see all the death and destruction. And everything is a tuning, is a habit. We're tuning our minds. Grateful mind or complaining mind. It's only a habit. So we have to recalibrate our minds. And especially first tuning mind with the heart, mind with the body, and then whole self with the rhythm of life in the trees and plants and stars, everything. So when you're in tune, you feel light. Not so many questions like, what should I wear? Who am I? What should I say? Where should I go? No. You just spontaneously, you be yourself. Like in the sports game. You're not overthinking which direction, how to pivot, and where to face, and where's this guy going. No, you're just in this kind of responsive, listening, presence, creative flow. So the yogi is not doing acrobatics and circus tricks. The yogi is training to be in that radical presence and flow moment to moment in the daily life. And so to do that, you have to stay in shape. To stay in shape, you do the same things, same exercises, same drills. We don't need to go changing all the time, sight reading music. Sight reading means you play a piece of music, you've never seen it before. You have to play that on the spot. Right? Nowadays, yoga, you go to the studio, you have no idea what's coming next. It's just trying to catch up. Do it right. Look, and I can do it. Sight reading. Like this. You can never get to that level of deep mastery. So it's important to go very, very deep into something very simple. Because the focus is yourself, not on performing that thing. Yoga is not a performance or competition. That's the ego. Ego is performing, ego is competing. That's the ego yoga. The yoga of the soul, of the spirit, is come home into yourself. Come back home into your own rhythm. To tune your body, heart, and mind in one biorhythm. And then to live life from that place. That's the yoga. That your life becomes like a blessing. Like a tree. The trees are giving so many beautiful things. They're giving a fruit, and they're shade, and they're giving medicine, and they're giving the wood and bark, everything. So much the tree is giving, and every moment the tree is giving, and changing the net into oxygen, so many things. So that our life can be also like a blessing for the planet. For not just human beings, but we can express that goodness in relation to all of life. We have a lot of pride that we're human beings, we're so good and smart and clean, and life is so dirty and stupid. This is totally wrong. And sooner than later we're going to see how wrong we are. So yoga is the connection. Alive. Otherwise, like a robot, mechanically going through the motions, this and that, so on. We need to awaken. Awaken our bodies, hearts, and minds. Awaken your cells. Awaken your spirit. Awaken your primal essence. Awaken your so many buds, so many buds to blossom. We have so many things to discover, so many qualities and so many experiences yet to uncover and express. So for sure it's exciting to travel the world and see many things and taste different flavors and everything. But to taste yourself, to experience yourself, to know yourself, to experience the universe through yourself is such a treat. And so this is why we recommend taking a little time each day to make sure you stay in tune, to clean your body, heart, and mind. It sounds reasonable. Every day you clean your clothes. If you don't clean your clothes for a couple days, it starts to feel yucky. It doesn't feel nice. It feels crusty and heavy and right? So imagine your mind, right? Your mind's even more intimate than your clothing. You're wearing your mind, you're wearing your heart. So your heart, you're full of feelings like disappointment and frustration and like this, carrying that around every day, never cleaning it out, never washing, never wiping. Then how does that feel? How can you be at home? How can you feel at home? So we have to clean our minds, clean our hearts. It's like your sheets in bed. After like a week or two, or after a month and a half, you never clean your sheets. Sometimes you don't take a shower, you get into bed, dirty, sweaty. You never feel really at ease. But when it's fresh, clean sheets and you get into your bed, that's such a sweet feeling. So to feel that way in yourself each moment, to feel that way, fresh, alive, exciting. At home, like in the sheets, we get in nice clean sheets. The same way you wake up into yourself, into your body, heart, and mind. So this is yoga. Water the garden. It's gardening, basic gardening. You are a garden. Literally you're a garden. Literally your body is a garden. It's alive in ways you never understand. Each moment it's being born and dying and blossoming, and so many things are going on, these biological processes, biochemical processes, all these hormones, so many things. And so your heart is also a garden, is alive and growing and living, and your mind is also a garden, 3 gardens. And the garden needs certain nourishment and certain things. And so if you give those things to your garden, no matter what, your garden will grow. And the garden knows what to do. The garden knows exactly what to do. The seed knows how to sprout. The plant knows how to grow. The leaves know how to do their process. Everything is perfectly in tune in time, in rhythm with itself, life. So we call this the super intelligence of life, of nature. That's also working within you, 100%. It's not you that's beating your heart and circulating your blood, all this, digesting your food with the different enzymes. You're not doing that. It's the super intelligence of life. You're not at the molecular level doing the molecular dance. No, you're not doing it. We're so proud of ourselves, but really, life is a super intelligence. And so all we need to do is to allow that to express itself. So you water the garden, you nourish your body, heart, and mind, then automatically starts to blossom. You don't have to explain to it what to do. Life knows what to do. Life knows how to dance with you. It's the control trip. We want to control. So then we cut ourselves off from the flow of life, from the power, from the dance. So that's why we take some time each day, clean your body, heart, and mind. Then you can see clearly. This clarity is the real wisdom. It's not about having a list of rules, and each time something happens, you check the rules. No, you have that inner clarity, and then moment to moment, you can respond to life as needed. Otherwise, all the time thinking and planning, and what about this, what if that, but if this happens, then this, and then this could lead to that, and then that, and this. And it's never ending, never ending. So instead, just clean your body, heart, and mind, and be quiet. then it's obvious. When you really know how to play a sport, it's obvious which way to go. It's obvious, you can see which way they're going, which way the ball is going, how you can get in. When you're familiar with something, it becomes obvious. So be familiar with being yourself. Be still. And then in the moment, you don't have to keep continually calculating and thinking and planning and everything. And worrying and everything. So complicated. Just be quiet. And when you need to, you can think. Okay, do like this. But then, most of the time, it's not necessary. So much unnecessary thinking. You're draining all your power. Wasting all your energy with the unnecessary thinking. It's like leaving the AC on in the room all day, you're not in the room. Just draining that power. You're draining all your energy and power. So be quiet, be still. Like the animals, you see them, these great animals too. They look like they're dead. They're so still, they're so chill. And then bam, in one instant they immediately burst into action. So to be alive is not to continuous, it's like short-circuiting. We're like short-circuiting all the time, just like somehow in between. Never really fully that and never relaxing. Just kind of stuck in between something. What should I do? Like that. But you never see a giraffe questioning, what should I do? A banana tree, a mango tree, a grasshopper, a fish, anything. Life is perfectly itself, 100%, 24/7. And so we can access that same state of fully being oneself. It doesn't mean that we're not growing and learning and everything. It just means we're being natural. It's a natural way, breathing naturally. Otherwise we get so tense. We have strong expectation and strong desire and attachment, and then we start to hold a breath and to get worried that it's not going to happen, and then it just builds from there. And so that's why every day we have to clean. You clean. You wear underwear every day. You take it off and clean it. Right? It's like that. You have to clean your heart. You have to clean your mind. And just doing that, you feel 95% better. Because all the problem is in the past. The problem is the concept of a mind. So in the present moment, there's no mind. But as soon as we go to the past itself is a problem. It's always a problem. Either it's better than now, but it's gone, or it's bad and we want to get away. It's a problem. We have some idea and we get stuck in our idea, whatever it is, the good ones and the bad ones. We're stuck in the good ideas, we're stuck in our successes, we're stuck in our failures. So there's no way out. You have to see, there's no way out. You're not going to patch it up and make another identity, and that one's going to be good, it's going to be all good, spiritual identity or something. No, the only way is completely bypass. No mind, no name, no form. Completely free from all thoughts, words, ideas of all language. Just for a second, just a glimpse. Not separate from the infinite ocean of existence. Gradually shifting the habit. We have this habit. Go, 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 go. But where are we going? The yogis say, why don't we start here? For sure, you're here. Then and there is a question. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's true there is this time that's then and there. It would seem that, however, no matter where we go, how fast or how slow, we're always here. There's no way to get away from here. But if we don't know how to be here, If we're always living in there, and we see there is false, you can never get there. It's always just around the corner. So what about to be here? How can we be here? This is what we mean by presence, by awareness. You can only be here when you stop thinking, because all the thoughts are carrying you over there. The thoughts are not here. The words are in the past. So mind is always in the past. So this means to be present is a state of not knowing. Not actively not knowing. Knowing is like a closed fist. I know. I already know. I know that. I don't know. Now we're open and receptive. Otherwise we're closed off. Knowing. What do we know? So, to be present is not knowing. To know yourself means to be yourself. And in order to be yourself, you have to not know. I don't know. Who am I? Whatever small ideas we have is just a tiny fragment. We pick little parts of our life and say, that's me. I did this and found this and lost this and so on. But that's actually just like 5%, even less. So that with the idea I have of myself is not myself. And so I can't be that anyway. So when I forget the idea, in the state of not knowing, automatically I am myself, then that's the knowing yourself. To be yourself is to know yourself. But it's not like a description. It's not like a dating, like the profile in the dating app, or the obituary or something. You're infinite. So be your infinite self. You have all the archetypes, all the emotions and everything. So this is what we mean by freedom. Your own mind, freedom from your thoughts, your judgment. We have a few questions. Question 1. Why have so many religions control system based on fear in this life, so our next life will be better? So it's true that at some point religion went from this religare, from the reconnection between the self and the spirit, to power and control. And it's essentially become a kind of political power and control in the last, 1,000 years. At least the exoteric. We still have esoteric religions. And really all of the sages and enlightened beings, including Jesus, Buddha, and like this, were mystics, were deeply experiencing themselves the truth, and then the religion grew up around them after they left. The Buddha wasn't Buddhist, Jesus wasn't Christian, and so it's like the mystics, actually the mystics have the real mystics, the one experiencing directly the truth within their hearts, never say they have any country or tradition or like this, because it's the one self, it's the one light that's experienced. And so this is what the esoteric, or the kind of living spirituality, as compared to just the rules, right? And so then when it comes to the rules and everything and us and them, right? This is the religion of us and them. We're right, they're wrong. And so that's absurd. That has no place within any kind of, enlightened thinking or understanding of existence. And so it's clear, these are all politicians. They're politicians in control. And it's a misinterpretation of heaven and hell. It's now, in this moment, in your mind. You're creating heaven with your thoughts, hell with your thoughts. It's expressed in your environment and the people and everything. And so whatever you're doing now is preparing the seeds for what's to come as well. If there's more to come, right, then for sure And it's not just by the loophole. You're not just going to get out by the loophole and you do the thing and da-da-da, you know. So that's silly. That's really childish stuff. But it's culture, you know, I mean, we're losing culture, though. We've lost culture. We've lost family. We've lost community. We've lost ourselves. So that's the way. That's how this toxic environment in the modern world, everything is toxic. Our food, our water, our air, our relationships with ourselves, with others. And so this is a Kali Yuga. It's the Dark Ages. Some people think that the Dark Ages was like, you know, in the time of the pest in the 1300s, 1400s. But that was it's true, but we're now in the height of the Dark Ages. So it's even more like everything looks shiny on the surface, it's completely rotting inside. And so it's important to be, you know, like in the rainy season. If it's rainy season, then you know, you can bring a rain jacket, you bring an umbrella, and so you're prepared. So when you're in the Dark Ages, you gotta be prepared. You gotta prepare, you gotta clean yourself. You gotta have a force field energetically of your own love. Otherwise, there's all the constant pressure and feeling of like insecurity or like this. So, So daily practice, do daily practice. Is there a question? Yeah, religions. Religion, the church. Yeah, I mean, we got to go back into the forest. Go into the forest. There you know the religion of life. We're too mental now, too. We want some kind of mental, like, system to understand things. But it's like, yeah, this is a trouble. That's why all the great religions, all the great teachers were silent. Would be silent for extended periods. Because life is speaking itself. We don't need to announce it and explain it. Life itself is the source, is the teacher, is the canvas, and is the creation. Question 2. How does letting go transition from idea to truly letting go? So actually, there's nothing to let go of. Because what are we holding on to? First of all, where is it? What we're holding on to, where is it? Where is it to begin with? Right? Because if we're going to let it go, we have to find it. We must be holding on. And so where is it? What is it? It seems like whatever we're holding on to, no one else is. It's just us. It's our own personal little thing, our own little package that we're carrying around. Whatever I'm holding on to, even I'm living the same experience as someone I'm growing up with. Whatever they're holding on to is completely different from me, completely different. And so first we have to see that this is some kind of personal story, including our whole past. What we consider the past is, again, just our little version. But then, okay, I'm holding on to something. And so what am I doing? That means that somehow I keep focusing on that. I keep looking at it. It's like I'm carrying something around and I keep picking it up and looking at it. So what's needed is it actually has nothing to do with that which one is holding on to or seems to be holding on to. And it's more a question of taking your energy and focus and putting it in this moment. Right? Because this is where life is happening. And so whatever has happened before has informed you. Now you know that. You've lived that. So you bring that into this moment. Your whole self you bring into this moment. This is the culmination of life is this moment. Life is peaking and the wave is crashing this moment. And always. Like you're playing a game. Like you play tennis and it's 2 in the afternoon. At 2 in the afternoon you get on the court and the game starts and you play. The game is on. It's on. It's go time. At the end, then you get off. You're off the court, then the game is over. This game of life, you don't get on and off. It's nonstop, whether you like it or not. Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays, every day, 365, 24/7. Your organs are doing their thing. The planets and galaxies, everything doing its thing continuously. So life is 100%. And so when your attention is here in this moment, then no need to let go, it's gone. Right? It's because your attention, you have no control, your attention is going back and elsewhere and grabbing onto things. But that's already, if you don't pick it up, then it's gone. Who's holding it? Where is it then? All the things that have happened in this room, where did they go? Who's holding onto that? So it's all in the mind. So we have to clean our mind, and we have to refocus our mind here and now. Life is here. We're always focused on things we don't like, some that are somewhere else. This is a bad habit. That's silly. You have to train your mind. You have to be strict with your mind. But we don't need this yet. We don't need it all letting go. No. Be here. Forget everything. But when you're playing a sport, when you're skiing and down the mountain, you forget everything. You have to forget. You're not thinking about what you ate yesterday or what you're going to... Yeah, or if you are, then you're missing out, right? Same when you're making love. Right? You're in the moment. Fully it's like this. We have experience of what it means to be present. You're not thinking about about eating, about sleeping. You forget about time. You forget about everything. So to live that same way in relation to this little moment, this present moment. This is radical presence, radical aliveness. You can experience that peak level of bliss from the littlest moment, from the leaf blowing on the tree, from the light shining through the branches. You experience that same beauty and bliss within yourself, and you're relaxed because you're breathing naturally. Your body, your biology, your organism is nourished, and you're supported by community of people who see you and understand. Letting go. Then there's no need to let go. Like when you were a child, you had your blankie and the thing, everything. You don't need to let it go. When the time comes, it goes by itself. If it stays, if something's really sticking, then probably something to investigate. If there's one particular theme or one particular situation, and it keeps you really from being in the moment, no matter what, that's keeping you from the moment, then it's not time to let go. You have to first digest that, investigate it, explore that, release some kind of energetic charge connected with that. Anyway, it's like food. You eat some bad food and you get your digestion's off for a week or for weeks. Eventually you move it through your system. Right? So sometimes in life we have very difficult situations to digest. Yeah, just have to digest it. So what to do? Most of the time our life digestion is very much compromised because we're not playful. And we don't have, to really let yourself be wild and have fun and be, embodied, dance wildly or yell or shout or sing for extended periods. These things are necessary to move this through the system, all these emotions and thoughts. So really strongly recommended. Like that's why playing sport also is very good energetically and a kind of improvisation. So all of these things are necessary to move that energy. And then letting go becomes a natural part of life. Like you eat the food, then you let it go. You go to the toilet and it's totally gone. You forget about it. If you always remember, that one meal was so good, and every time you eat, you just think about that, then you don't enjoy that. And you can't enjoy what you're eating because you're always somewhere else. So same way, you eat the food, even the best meal ever, you forget about it. It's gone. It's assimilated. So in the same way, we have to approach every day all the interactions and all of our moments, everything. Can your consciousness be possessed, out of your control, or even challenging to harness? So it's challenging to harness one's energy, period. Like, notwithstanding the idea of possession or spirits and this and that. Like, just with the different, just with the wild, it's like that wild primal aliveness and desire and sexuality and fear and shame and all these kind of things mixed together at once, and all these, you know, all these stories and everything. So it's challenging. I mean, physically, it can be physically challenging. I remember when I started meditating, I was 14 or 15. I was gripping my fists and I wanted to punch the floor. Like, so much anger and energy was bubbling up inside of me. And so, yeah, I think that life is difficult to harness. I think it's challenge to harness life. Challenge to harness like a horse. You want to tame a horse, a wild horse, or you just even learn to ride a horse that's not wild. You know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge, definitely. But it's a worthy challenge, right? Because otherwise we are going to get, you know, possessed and controlled by external factors and life, because we haven't mastered ourselves. And so key number one is the breath. Like a musician, right? You're the violinist mastering the bow. You have to master your breath. The breath is not just like empty air that comes in and goes out, but the breath, we're talking about the whole kind of brain and nervous system and pressure and all there's so many subtle layers. So with the proper training, the same, like you can train in bowling, you can train in archery, you can train golf. So many people spending so many hours playing golf. If you put a fraction of that time to training to be yourself, I promise you can deeply be at peace and present within yourself. The same way you can hit the ball, you know, hundreds of feet into a hole, you can feel at home, at peace in yourself, in your breath. You can feel creative and alive. This is your natural state. But nobody puts in the time. It's just like kind of a hobby on the side to show off yoga. Where people train at sports, people train at musical instruments, people train at the arts. But to sincerely go through a period of several years of very, very deep, focused training, not for show, is so rare. And yeah, I mean, we get possessed all the time. We get possessed by other people. We get possessed by our own, like the past. We get possessed by all kinds of desires and fears and attachments. We're continually being pushed around and pulled around by our ego and by our misunderstanding of existence. So, and then there's the question of, you know, when we leave the body, it's just like poof, and it's done and it's all over. Actually, there's some essence that continues, and then they do some learning, and then they come back again. And so, yeah, there's some interaction between the different planes. And the weaker we are and the less we have a stable rhythm, then the more receptive we are to these kinds of possessions and attacks energetically from other people or disembodied spirits or whatever. So the key is just keep a strong core, right? With your breath, with a good vibration. That's why the chanting also creates like a beautiful web, like a vibration, like a womb of good vibration that repels the stuff that's not useful, right? That's not, you know, and so for sure, like also wearing different metals, wearing precious metals and different stones and different seeds and different things. This is also very useful in clearing your energetic field. Also, you're working with different smokes, like Palo Santo or sage or frankincense or having a rose spray. These kinds of things really work in keeping your energetic field clear. And then you gotta through your practice learn to be sensitive and feel when something's off, and then clear it. Start to trust it. When you feel something, start to trust it instead of just being like, oh no, whatever. Start to listen to that, and you'll feel something's off, something needs to clear. Take a shower, right? Go take a dip in the ocean. All these things will help. Take a walk in the forest bathing. They'll go for a steam and cold plunge. Just totally shift the whole system, the whole pressure system. What advice do you have for quieting the mind, thoughts, and voice? That's the path. You got to just do it. Show up every day. Do it every day. Oh, it's difficult at first. It's like dribbling a basketball. It's like, oh, I can't do it. What advice do you give? Pick it up and just do it. Keep dribbling. Keep dribbling. Like, you know, you can give a little tips of like, whatever. But really, just pick up the ball. Pick it up again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Right? So you just again show up. Okay, don't think, don't follow the thoughts. And then you get into this subtle rhythm, and for a second you go, boom. And then again you start thinking, that's fine, so like that. Even just a small glimpse, it doesn't matter, be bad at it, and do it again and again until you get good. That's it, there's no big secret. It's just everybody's like, and give up right away. It's not complicated. We just have the habit of the constantly. It'd be like someone that can't put their arm down. It's just waving it around frantically, continuously, for no reason. You know, it's what we're doing with our mind. Just blah, 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 and just a lot of it's coming out of our mouth. And so we have to stop doing that. That's a bad habit. Stop it, right? And in order to stop, you have to shift your nervous system. You have to regulate your nervous system. So retrain how to breathe. Tell yourself, be still, don't move. I promise, at first it's really difficult. It's like impossible. It's like, and then after a few days, it's like, okay, if you keep it up after a month or two, you'll be so stable. Right? And it's not the point that, oh, look at me, I'm stable. But it means in your daily life, when the little bullshit comes up, which it does all day, every day, right, then it just falls off you. It doesn't, your nervous system is grounded in a way that instead of freaking out and then like that, it's just so. And you're able to be present. You're able to be present with yourself and with life and to dance the dance. And so that's the key. Otherwise, it's good. It's good. The mind better make noise. If it's there, if we're like getting crushed by the mind and it's silent, then it's really dangerous. But now we know, okay, enough. So we have to, then it's like, okay, it's enough. So we got to go a different way. You can't go the same way. It's the same thing. So it's good. Let the mind be even noisier. Let it be noisier. And then you say, okay, I've got to find the other way. That's awareness. It's a different function. It's a different activity. Thinking is one. Thinking, analyzing, thinking like you cut into little pieces, you butcher it up into little pieces and you try to explain it. But awareness is this like a all-pervasive presence, a quiet, listening, receptive openness, like that, just where you merge into the space and everything that is. And so, when you're balanced, naturally you rest in awareness. And so, by bringing balance into your body, heart, and mind, shift into awareness, automatically the thinking becomes quiet. Automatically, all these things, everything comes naturally, not through any forcing or planning, because you're naturally being yourself. How could you be anything else? Question. Sometimes it feels my blood is not flowing properly during seating meditation in my legs. Do you have any recommendations? Yeah, just keep it up. It's okay. It'll regulate. In the meantime, do more yoga. You may need to do some specific stretches for your legs, or you need to do some more walking throughout the day. And throughout the day when you're sitting, come into meditation posture. But really, it's the blood's not stuck, but it's regulating. Right? But at first it feels all this blockage. That's fine. It's the same when you play violin, and at first it's like, oh, it's so uncomfortable, my arm hurts, It's like, yeah, what to do, So you want to play tennis and to hold the racket, to grip the racket, you have all this pain in your forearm. It gets sore. It's like, oh, my arm's so sore. Yeah, but it'll go, whatever. So it's got to be the same. You just have to be like, okay, whatever. All this stuff will go away in a month or two. Well, I promise, 100%. The recommendation we give is to go with a 40-day practice, 40-day challenge, or a 100-day challenge. I like 100. 100 days is 3 months. 40 days is like a month and a week or whatever. Month and 2 weeks. And so the challenge is you do the same, you commit to a certain practice that you do every day, ideally at the same time every day, for the 40 days. You know, this is the only way. You have to experience over time. You can't just do it once and just fix everything. Right? But what's needed is to shift your underlying rhythm of how your nervous system responds, how you breathe, how you react emotionally, how you set your boundaries, all these things. This is what we're working on. This is such important, deep-level stuff. It seems that it definitely warrants a little bit of time and attention. And so, half hour a day, it's nothing. We waste a half hour all the time doing nothing. And so just take that time to water your garden, to be with yourself, awaken your body, your heart, your mind, your breath, tune yourself, come into center. Shift from this contraction of ego to expansion, deep listening, awareness, presence, not knowing. Can you share your experience of the ashram with Lama? I've been in the ashram so many times. I've spent at least a year, so went a couple times with my family. My son learned to crawl in the temple there. I mean, I was with Lama many times in the US before, though, too. I would sleep in my car so that I could just go in at the programs. And then in Kurumai's ashram, also on my left, she's also Amma. It's hard. I recommend, if anyone feels the calling, to go and sit with these great sages, the enlightened sages. It's like nothing else. It awakens that same pure light within you, because it's whatever there is within you too. And so when you come into that, it lifts you up. At the same time, it cleans out all the mess. So it's really, there's nothing like being in the presence of the great sages. I strongly recommend. Amma's still in her body. She's 74 now. And but you can go into Kerala and stay in the ashram. It's like a big university campus. There's also some other places. At the end of the retreat, I send a file which is explaining how to meet with some of these great living sages. I mean, each day that I spend there is like a lifetime. And so I've had so many immensely powerful experiences and stories and leelas with Amma, with the disciples, with the space there at the fire and the chanting. I mean, it's impossible to recount. And I have a gift where I forget everything also immediately. And it allows me to live so deeply and intimately each moment. But I mean, such incredible blessings to be. I mean, imagine you could go and sit by Jesus. You know, Amma's no question at the same level as Buddha. You know, there are these people that are they're not even people. It's just like the universe in the form of a human. And so when you come near that, there's an energy that's very healing, and it can be very triggering too. Right? And so that's why we have to clean ourselves. It's not about finding a guru. It's about making oneself receptive, like to be a real student. When we can become a real student, then life will teach us continuously through everything all the time. So it's not a question of finding the guru as much as it is of making oneself receptive. How to live a life that is aligned with the life I envisioned while I am on a yoga mat. Can the two versions of life be separate or different? Or do we need to pick one and go all in? So I'm really strongly of the opinion that there's only one life. There's not two lives. We don't have a personal life and a work life and a family life and a fun life and a student life and like this. I think that's how we end up crazy, right? Because we create all these different lives and they're a little bit different each one, and then which one am I? And it's trying to juggle these lives. And it's by separating everything and compartmentalizing everything that we lose the playfulness and the adventure and the excitement and become just mechanical. And so for me, like, I mean, every moment is work, every moment is play, every moment is learning, every moment is family, every moment is creativity, every moment is everything. That's why I never like the worst question, how are you? It's whatever answer I give is false. It's such a, whatever, I'm good. There's so many infinite layers. Each moment is changing our feelings. Even when on a terrible day, we don't just feel terrible every single moment. We have many moments. There are many moments arising. And so as soon as we pick one, then we become stuck in that. And it becomes a story and identity. When really there's infinite layers and dimensions every second, whether we're paying attention or not. And so we have to be, we're trapping ourselves. You have to be free. You have to see that you're infinite. And what's the question? Oh yeah, there's 2 lives. 2 lives. So this is the other thing. People say, oh, now spiritual, my spiritual life and my not spiritual life. No. And if it's spiritual, there's only one life. There's no 2 lives. There's one life. There's no good life and bad life and spiritual, non-spiritual. The spiritual life means there's one life. There's not 2. And so, how to be authentic. No, how to be real. This is the challenge. This is what we're training for. And then the life is the journey. That's living into that. And so it's better, instead of like, you know, we may feel disconnected in our current life, and we have some idea, like fantasy, like, oh, if only it was like this and like this and like that, then it will be good. And so then we're doing the same thing, right? And so this approach is to slowly lean into being more, how to say, like to follow your heart, to listen to your heart each moment. And by doing that in not a forceful way and not a dogmatic way, like, oh, now I have to only eat this, or I should leave this and never talk to this, you know what I mean? Like, that's very extreme, but it's more like from a place of loving oneself. Then you start to listen to yourself. You're like, okay, I love myself, I'm going to listen. And then each moment, so this is the intuition. How do we know the intuition? It's not with words, but it's like if you go somewhere and you hear someone singing in the park, and they're singing out of tune. And so you feel inside this kind of like, right? And then now you hear someone singing in tune, and you feel this, like this expansion. One is like very, and the other is very soft and sweet and nice. So every moment we have that going on, this is the intuition speaks like this, in this kind of contraction or expansion. It's not with words and like pros and cons and weighing the benefits and everything. It's every moment, every person, every situation, every word work with this. This is Vipassana, is working at the subtle level of clearing these likes and dislikes, or attachment and aversion, right, which is attached to everything. All our thoughts, all our memories, we're at a subtle level, this micro level, in this constant like, like that, and these reactions. And so so we need to clear that away. Right, and then rest in this pure space. And then we can listen to and then slowly start listen, and we trust start to trust ourselves, and then start to act based on that. Start to trust that, and then act accordingly. And then little by little, like we're like, oh, I don't feel like eating that, or I don't want to go there. And then slowly things shift for themselves. But we do need to, it has to be a choice that we value ourselves, and we can't, because many people choose just to sacrifice themselves for this thing in the future. And you can only be, so disconnected from your soul and your essence for so long, and it just starts to break down and it becomes very difficult. And so it's not there, there is a place where it's like, gosh, where it's time to make a drastic shift, and that can be really healing and scary. And it's good to be scared. It's good to feel things. We're afraid to have feelings and emotions. And a lot of it is because lack of community and the support from others, and we're not able to share authentically. Yeah. Question. What religion do you identify with? I notice you have both Buddhist and Hindu artifacts. So no religion. No, the religion that we say that before words, if there's a religion, the one that was before the words, before the culture, it's just the natural flow of life. Otherwise, it's too much it's like a whole story, a whole dogma. We have to protect it and stuff. Of course, there's a certain framework within which we have realization, but it's not attached to that. It's not stuck in any particular language of like symbology or semiotics or mythology or whatever, because all are touching at the same thing. And so for me, I don't want any of that burden. For me, just the freedom and this wildness also, that to be spontaneous and wild. But most of my teachers are from India. But the Hinduism even itself is more of a sociological concept, a construct that was kind of projected on India in order to kind of quantify these religions. Because Hinduism is not, there's no like one Hinduism. Like there's so many paths within that, and then within each path there's all these different lineages. It's a very diverse, inclusive model. It's not this exclusive us and them kind of thing. So Buddha is not, so it's tricky, but there's, I like to take the spiritual path as like gardening, right? Gardening is not religious, but you need a little sunlight, you need water, you need this good soil and so you give the right nutrients and minerals, you take care of the garden, then the garden will grow. So it's more practical and experiential. This is what we need. It's experiential learning and the practical tips. So that's what I consider. Okay. 1103, last two. When you're on the path of awakening as a parent, how can you give your adult child or any age child, how can you guide? Encourage the child or let the child find his or her own way while the child suffers with exams stress. Thank you. So I think the only way to guide a child of any age is to be really deeply, authentically living the path oneself, to be really, in a very focused way, like living the journey, living the truth, applying the Dharma in one's own life, and testifying through one's own life, because we are in no place to really tell anybody something that we're not living ourselves. And then naturally, and then when we're so in tune with ourselves, then naturally, in some circumstances we need to let go. In some circumstances we need to step in. There's no rule. The rule is we need to know. And so when we're in touch with ourselves, we'll know when it's time to step in. And we'll know when it's time to let them on their way. And sometimes we don't know, and we have conflict, and then the growth happens through conflict. We have a terrible misunderstanding of conflict. Having lived in intentional community for the last 23 years, and the first community I lived in, Pendle Hill, had been around for 80 years. They had done a lot of work in deep listening and group process and everything. And what we came to understand is that community is not utopia where everyone gets along and gets what they want all the time. There's a great misunderstanding. Everybody thinks it's like everybody is happy and everybody always wins, and it's absurd. So really what community is, it's a safe space to learn and grow from conflict. Right? Conflict, misunderstanding is inevitable, and it's actually not a problem, but it's the source of a deeper understanding and growth if we're able to live that and hold that in a mature way. this kind of nonviolent communication and have a deeper understanding and so, but it's very difficult without community then to access that kind of experience. And so, but conflict is beautiful. Well, conflict is essential for our growth. Yeah. Bam. And so, yeah, so there are times, but also very difficult to be a parent in the modern society where it's like you don't get practice and experience before you start. You know, here in Cambodia, by the time they're gonna have their first kid, they've already raised like 6 to 8 kids, like intimately. And so there's no question of what should I do, or like, you know, like none at all. It's completely normal and natural. They're like waiting for it. And so that model of parenting you have, not only, you're not the only one parenting your children, but your uncles and cousins and nieces, everyone is. And so you don't have to be everything all the time. I think the problem is now, in this modern model, we have to be everything all the time for everyone. It's impossible. It's really impossible. It's impossible to be in a... And so, how to be a father in this model? How to be a mother in this model? Where you have to be everything all the time. People are gonna have burnt out. So this is why community is so important. I don't know what to say, but community is just so important. It's really in community that you can learn to be yourself. But community is through conflict. So we have to learn how to sit with conflict lovingly. Okay, last question. How can you forgive? This is personal. I'm not going to go into this, but there are 2 events from my life that I can't forgive. One, so forgiving is not saying that anything that happened is okay. It has nothing to do with a judgment of fairness about anything at any level in all of existence, in the whole evolution of all these billions of years of everything, of the ice ages and then the fire and then the volcano and then the things and the dinosaurs. Within all of that, forgiveness has nothing to do with that anything is fair, less fair, more fair, or right, or should have, or could have, or anything. No, it's not about. It's about oneself, because as an individual, I'm holding. There's something that's keeping me from evolving and growing. And so that thing, no matter for whatever reason it was caused, or whether it happened or should have happened, or whatever, it's about unhooking that. Right? It doesn't change anything about what, that, but it's just allowing you to be in the now, here, and not somewhere else. But oftentimes, like some of this, like sometimes the other person doesn't even know that we feel this, something like that. We could feel terrible something because of something they did every day. They have no idea. So forgiveness is not about them. It's not for them. It's not about, making anything okay or not okay, in the absolute sense, or in an objective or a subjective sense. But it's just saying, that's a thing, and I no longer need to carry it in this way. Right? It's not even, there's no reason, there's no reasoning for it. It's like a quantum leap, it's a quantum shift. Because there are infinite things that have influenced to become who we are. And so in the end, like Rumi says, we bow down to each and everything. Because without that, we wouldn't be who we are, and we can't cut into pieces and pick and choose. With our modern mind, it's all these what ifs and shoulds and coulds and everything. But it's just like absolutely everything is brought us here. So we just start from here. and each day, each moment, you just erase everything that came before, because it's already part of your DNA. It's so infused into you that you can't not express that through everything you say and feel and think in here. So we honor that test through our life. But if something's keeping us from evolving, from growing, from blossoming, we have to cut that out, and that's forgiveness. It's not about the other person. It's compassion for oneself. We have to see that we're the ones that are suffering with this idea, whatever it is, and no matter how justified it is. No, it has no question about fairness or this or that or shoulds or coulds or the past, anything. It's like, okay, now you have to bring your full self now. The only way you can honor yourself, honor the past, honor whatever, is to fully embodying as your and taking your power and yourself is here now, and everything else that's holding you back is you're perpetuating that in your own mind. No, we have to take responsibility. Nobody else is holding on to it. And so the forgiveness is at that level. It's a reprogramming of one's mind. It doesn't change whatever happened. Many terrible things have happened everywhere. So forgiveness is not changing that or anything about that. It's the part of you that's stuck somewhere. You're just freeing that part. Let's take a moment to be quiet. Drop all the words. In between the words is the silence. That silence is peace. Peace is not what happens when you get everything that you need and check all the boxes and finish this and do this and do. No, I promise you, you'll have no peace. It's never ending. But if in 1 second you just drop everything, just for a moment, forget everything, everything you were supposed to do and didn't do or did do and shouldn't have done, everything at once. You forget your name, your age, all the physical problems, emotional, all the mental problems, everything at once, all the words, all the language. Drop everything and just be quiet. Just look up.